News Central now. This hour begins with the latest on the lifting of petrol from the Dangote Refinery in Lagos, Nigeria. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) has announced new petrol prices effective immediately. In a statement released in Lagos, the price is now 950.22 naira per litre, while Oyo will see 960.22 naira per litre. In the Federal Capital Territory, it is 992.22 naira. And in Kaduna, Kano, and Sokoto, it is 999.22 naira per litre. Imo and River States will pay 980.22 naira per litre, and Borno faces the highest price at 1,019 naira.22 per litre. NNPCL spokesperson Olufemi Shoneye confirmed these figures following the company's recent purchase of fuel from the Dangote Refinery. Prices are based on September 2024 rates, with payments to the refinery made in USD. The statement adds that any potential discounts from the refinery will be passed on to consumers. Meanwhile, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has maintained that it paid 989 naira per litre for petrol from Dangote Refinery despite the refinery's denial. NNPCL spokesperson Olufemi Shoneye confirmed this while responding to Dangote Refinery's reputation. Well, Dangote's Anthony Chijina had previously dismissed the NNPCL claim, urging the public to await a formal price announcement from the technical subcommittee appointed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. NNPCL acknowledged paying in USD with Naira transactions starting October 1, 2024. They rejected Dangote's assertion about the pricing committee and provided updated pump prices for petrol at their stations nationwide as per September 2024 rates. In the meantime, a fleet of trucks at the Dangote Refinery began loading off first batch of petrol. At the start of the process, 10 trucks drove into gantries while their compartments were filled with petrol from a computerized gadget. The NNPCL had stated that hundreds of trucks would be deployed to the refinery for PMS loading. Meanwhile, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister for the Economy, Wale Edun, who spoke to journalists, pointed out what this means for Nigeria. He stated that NNPC and Dangote have agreed on various terms that allow petrol production to the Nigerian market, which will in turn generate energy security for the country. He, however, did not state the buying price nor selling price.
All on the side of the federal government of Nigeria, the Ministry of Finance, the chairman of FIRS, we congratulate everybody for having brought us this far. And I think what Nigerians can look forward to is energy security, energy sufficiency, and as we look forward, we can also look at the issue of cost. What we're expecting that as this refinery and even others, as they ramp up production, ramp up scale, and achieve greater economies of scale, there should be the opportunity, and there is definitely the potential to reduce their costs, which should pass on to the consumer. So we have to give them a chance. They have just started. They have done very, very well. It's a triumph, Alhaji Aliko Dangote. It's a triumph for Mr. President over and above anything else. But it's also a very good day for Nigerians, and we look forward with optimism. Thank you.
All to discuss the latest from the lifting of petrol from the Dangote Refinery and related issues, I'm being joined by Temitope Konlade, Senior Manager and Lead ESG and Climate Change Services at Anderson. Welcome and thank you for joining me this morning here on News Now. Given the varying pump prices across different states, just as we mentioned, what factors do you think influences the regional price disparities?
Well, simple factor that influences the regional prices. It's transportation, in my view. Apparently, the refinery is here in Lagos, transloading again because of our transport system that has not been fully perfected. We still have trucks to travel all the way. The cost of diesel that most of those trucks use is one key issue that they will be concerned about. as how much will take them down to the far north or the south, and in other regions, as the case may be. So that's one critical factor that impacts the pricing. And again, because we've not had those trucks convert to CNG, maybe the cost would have been less than what we're seeing.
Anyway, you've mentioned transportation costs, maybe local market conditions could also be highlighted, just saying, or maybe other underlying factors. But I'd like you to focus on, there's conflicting statements that's been coming back and forth, especially from the NNPCL and not forgetting to from Dangote Refinery regarding the purchase price of petrol. Now, this has raised questions, especially about the business relationship. What do you make out of this? At first, it was Dangote Refinery saying that the price will be fixed by the downstream sector, of course, one that is approved by the president, who happens to be the Minister of Petroleum. And then again, you have the NNPCL saying, no, not yet. So it's been a back and forth. What's your thought on this, by the way?
Well, I think celebrating little wins, for me, it's one good step that we are getting closer to market-reflected price for PMS in particular, because what we've had in Nigeria over the years has been petrol politics. It may not have come to an end, but at least we are beginning to see cost-reflective pricing for the product, especially now that we have local refining taking place in Nigeria. So the war hasn't come to an end just yet. When it comes to pricing, I think that we may not be able to fault either of the parties. The one who pays says, oh, this is how much. And apparently what may have happened is that it's converted the money from USD to Naira and say, oh, this is my rate. This is how much I get USD for a Naira. And that's how I came about my rate. Whereas Dangote is saying, you know what? I sold in USD. So you can't tell me it's 898 Naira that you got it from me. So those disparities would be there. One is the buyer, one is the seller, one is looking at its books and he's saying, oh, this is what it would come to for me. But I think in the long run, it's really about some price convergence. And in particular, one of the things that you mentioned, we would like a situation where NPCLs steps back a bit and allow the marketers to really approach Dangote and begin to take these products. But I can imagine again that Dangote might have some preferences for trying to deal with NNPCL directly because of the crude that it gives to Dangote. So those issues are there, but by and large, I think we're getting closer to some more transparency within that sector, and we'll begin to see the true price of and the true cost of these products.
Is there any chance that the prices will come down? We've seen that Borno has the highest, about 1,000 plus, followed by Abuja as well, 999, and then you come down to Lagos and so on. Now, we do know in the NNPC's press release, they had mentioned that the price will remain this way just for 1 month, which is the month of September, because crude was being sold in dollars. That's USD to Dangote Refinery. And now, hopefully, they say it's just for 1 month. Do you have any certainty, or do you believe that the prices would come down, especially from next month?
Well, I mean, for me, I'm happy that, again, we are having some sort of market reflective pricing, as much as it may not be very convenient for Nigerians. But I am very optimistic. If that report is anything to go by, that the prices would come down. Apparently, if Dangote doesn't have to source for any crude from outside Nigeria, or maybe even sources for some, but they are minimal compared to the volume that it's getting from NNPCL. And of course, at Naira rates, it would mean that the cost of sourcing for USD would be out of play for it. And it would also mean that the cost of its products would be less and the pricing of its products will be more convenient for Nigerians. So that's one thing to think about. The other thing to think about is we then down the line begin to have the modular refineries work for us. If the market is completely liberalized, we'll begin to see some real price reflective, some cost reflective pricing, as you would find that the import markets could also be competing whatever is available from Dangote in Nigeria. So it's not going to be a monopoly, as it were. you would see several persons trying to play within that field, and there would be some price convergence. So I expect that the prices would come down at some point, but we should also bear in mind that the price may come down, but it will not stay down all the way, because it's really about the cost of crude per time. The cost of crude in the last 1 month has been suffering some decline, and so if it goes up, it would have an impact on the price. So maybe again, we may not expect so much of stability in the pricing. It will come down at some point. It may go up at some other point, except the government decides to find a way to regulate. But again, the PISAs don't regulate. So if you're following that, we shouldn't expect fixed pricing going forward.
Anyway, Mr. Timinsokwe Kolade, Senior Manager and Lead ESG and Climate Change Services at Anderson, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. We'll go for a break. When we come back, we'll take a look at the Edo State gubernatorial poll. That will be one of the major news here on News Now. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Let's take you straight to Kaduna, where Kapam Community, the community whose livelihoods and health was affected by a chemical released from the Kaduna Refinery and Petrol Chemical Company, said they are yet to be compensated. The released chemical destroyed most farmlands, which is the main livelihood in the community. The community leaders told News Central that livestock were lost, with some community members contacting unknown ailments and are not given proper medical attention. Well, joining me now is our correspondent, Emmanuel Bagudu. Bagudu, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us at this time as we look into this very, very critical situation. While one part of the country, particularly Lagos, Nigeria, is celebrating the fact that a refinery is working, the other part, somewhere in Nigeria, particularly in Kaduna, is mourning. Can you bring us up to speed on what the community known as Kapam Community is going through?
Of course, without any waste of time, I have the chairman of the community just by me, Mr. Gideon Ilya. He's going to give us an update of whether they have been compensated, and then take us through, the extent of the damage. Hello, sir. So can you tell us what's the update about this?
The update about this incident, for now, we don't know what is in their mind, because anything concerning the compensation, they have not talked of it.
So what is their mind? What is the extent of damage, health-wise and
really we were affected. Most of the community people, most of the people that lives in this community were affected, and some was rushed to hospital. So by God's grace, we didn't lose a life, but our animals were killed, our crops were damaged, and we have not heard anything from refinery concerning the compensation. But they said they will do it. So up till now, we have not heard anything from them. And this explosion, it happened on the date of 28 August. 28 August. And till now, we have not heard anything concerning the compensation issue.
Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you very much, Chairman. So we have victims whose health were affected, and then of course, yeah. Hello, ma'am. So just how were you affected, ma'am?
Sir, I was affected really badly. When this thing happens to me, I was weak, choke, and all of my body as if they poured pepper on us. While they took us to hospital, let me surprise you, what the doctor tell us, that it was high blood pressure. Some of us, it was malaria and typhoid. Some of them, that is ulcer that is affecting us while we are feeling it in our body. Some of us, stomach ache, vomiting, and all sort of things.
So, but you think it's not like that?
It's not like that.
It is the chemical?
It is the chemical. We were not feeling like that before the thing happened. But the very day that this chemical was sprayed, many of us, children...
So who took care of your medical bills? Who paid?
The refinery.
They paid
but
for it.
What they gave us is not what they're supposed to give us. Like me, they gave me BP drugs and my typhoid drugs, that this is what is affecting me. But I came back home. Up till today, my eye everywhere is itching.
Thank you very much.
I cannot see very well.
What's your name, ma'am?
My name is Kelita Yahuda.
Okay. Finally, let's talk to Mr. Akinola. Sir, just go ahead and tell us how you're affected. Yeah.
No, thank you very much. All the farm, as I said yesterday, I have 1,500 bags of yam, and this thing clear everything. If you go there now, you cannot see anything. We are really hungry in Kapam. We're supposed to be eating out of what we planted now, but nothing. We cannot feed our family. Every children now, we are in disarray in this place. So we are begging the government, we are begging the refinery that you come and do something. We are suffering. We don't have anything to eat. All what we're supposed to bounce back on, everything is totally gone. What are we talking? They can never come here even to assess what has happened here. They were just there sitting down. Did they want us to go and steal? Please, we want Nigeria to help us, to assist us. Thank you very much.
What's your name again, sir?
My name is Akinola Olunowade.
Thank you very much. So much emotions. We can't. Okay. Those are the emotions that we're facing. A lot of them really want to express themselves as to how they feel. We still have another man that's trying to show how he's affected. Go ahead, sir. Tell us what happened. What do you want to show us here?
Mr. John Atabo is my name.
So what do you want to show
I'm
us
showing you my maize destroyed.
Open it.
Okay. At the prime of eating the maize, I do normally eat it and share it with some of the community that like the maize at my own NGO charity. So the maize was destroyed heavily. Apart from the maize, I have other economic trees like jatropha, moringa, my palm tree, coconut, all because of the hydrofluoric acid that was released through the acid rain that fell in the Angwa. All the farm in Kapam Community is destroyed, and we have lost the farming season. Today is September already, so you cannot farm anything again. The children are hungry, the women are hungry. Some of the birds are dying, some of the goats they are dying. But we thank God that nobody has died. But all the animals, many of them are being killed daily because of the acid, and they have not done anything. Mr. John Atabo, I'm a farmer here. Thank you.
We can go on and on and on and on. I, of course, hoping that the refinery, of course, the NNPC will listen to these cries. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Emmanuel Bagudu. Very sad situation there. And hopefully we'll get more feedback or better still responses from the community. And we're certain that you would get back to us in our subsequent news bulletin. Thank you. Well, away from that very sad and tragic story, let's bring to you updates on the floods in Borno State. Nigeria's former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has donated 100 million naira to Borno State government towards supporting victims of flood disaster that ravaged the state. This was when the former Vice President in 2023 PDP presidential candidate paid a visit to the Borno State Governor, Professor Babagana Zulum, over the flood disaster that claimed lives and destroyed multi-million naira infrastructure and houses. The United Nations has assured that it will support those rescued and survivors affected by the devastating flood in Maiduguri that killed over 30 people and dislodged thousands of families from their homes. The UN resident and humanitarian coordinator for Nigeria disclosed this during a courtesy visit to Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Zulum at the government house in Maiduguri. News Central's Umaru Kirawa reports that the United Nations first held a press conference to give an update on the humanitarian activities carried out in the past 5 days following the flood that ransacked residents from their homes and left half of the capital submerged. The UN resident and humanitarian coordinator for Nigeria, Mohammed Malik Fall, said it is focused on ensuring that those affected and trapped are rescued. Governor Zulum appreciated the United Nations team and assured of commitment to short and longer-term solutions for affected communities.
Not only in sympathy and solidarity and in words, but we wanted to translate it into action. I know the action has already started unfolding, and I don't want this meeting to be a list of WHO, UNDP, OCHA, all UN family is doing. But I just want you to tell you that we will not spare any of our resources in this response. Probably we might not be where we wanted to be in terms of resources. But as we speak, we will try also to repurpose resources that were designed for some other intervention.
In the meantime, the Nigerian Correctional Service has declared 281 inmates missing from the medium security custodial center, Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. The service noted that this followed an evacuation process in the aftermath of the flood incident in the state, as 7 inmates were returned to the center. In a statement on Sunday in Abuja by its spokesman Umaru Abubakar, the service released the details of the inmates, including their biometrics. According to Abubakar, the Nigerian Correctional Service has noted the flooding that is presently occurring in Maiduguri, Borno State, as well as the surrounding area. And on to politics, the Edo State governorship election is heating up with allegations of rigging plots and vote intimidation. The ruling People's Democratic Party, PDP, has accused the opposition All Progressives Congress of planning to rig the election in polling units near Senator Adams Oshomale's hometown. The State Commissioner for Communication and Orientation, Chris Neikare, stated this during a press conference in Benin City, the Edo State capital, on Sunday, claiming that the same scenario played out in the last election in 2020. The PDP claims that APC agents are producing masks and police uniforms to disguise thugs and disrupt voting processes. The APC denies these allegations, calling them horrific hallucinations and accusing the PDP of trying to distract from their own shortcomings. With the election just days away, tensions are running high in Edo State. Since the flag-off of reconstruction of Arochukwu-Ohafia Road in Abia State by the state government, residents have been reacting to the comments made by Governor Alex Otti on the supposed length of the road. They are also uncomfortable that the governor did not disclose the estimated cost for the reconstruction. Some even say the governor was being economical with the truth when he claimed that the road had been abandoned for 60 years. News Central's Chinwe Ugele tells us more.
It all started with the mention of the length of the road during the flag-off for reconstruction of Ohafia-Arochukwu Road by Governor Alex Otti and his Works Commissioner Otumchere Otti.
And let me formally welcome you to the flag-off of the reconstruction of the 41.4 kilometer Ohafia-Arochukwu Road. It is an asphalt concrete road, 41.4 kilometers long.
First, it was former Governor Orji Kalu through a press statement who countered Governor Otti's claims on reconstructing the entire road when some portions had already been fixed by the federal government. Also, former House of Representatives member for Arochukwu-Ohafia Federal Constituency, Ukumkole, corroborated Kalu's assertion.
From Osoja Junction to the 0 point is 30 kilometers. It may add the potencies and give other 3 kilometers. It's not more than 33 kilometers.
The Commissioner for Works was absent when we visited for further clarifications, and even the Permanent Secretary who we met could not offer much help.
And as a Permanent Secretary, my Commissioner will authorize me to talk before I talk.
In search of answers, I surfed the internet and found myself on geodatos.net, an online geographic platform which gave the entire measurement of the road from Ebemo-Ohafia to Arochukwu as 28 kilometers. Those who raised issues about the road were insistent that some sections of it had been fixed.
What really needs intervention and what the governor is going to do is no more than 12 kilometers out of the 33 kilometers. So it will be wrong for him to claim that he's going to do 41 kilometer stretch.
Already we have a company that is constructing that road, and what is left of that road is 14.5 kilometers.
One sure way of confirming or disputing any party's claims was having a first-hand knowledge of the road, and so we boarded a taxi to Ohafia and alighted at the old Soja Junction, Ebem, which is the beginning of the road. From there, we boarded motorcycles and took a ride to Arochukwu. Truly, some sections of the road from Ohafia end and even Arochukwu end had been fully reconstructed, although some portions already developed potholes. I'm standing right on the boundary between Ohofia and Arochukwu communities. So it has taken time for the contractor to complete this project, hence the state government's decision to take over the project and complete it for the use of the people. The people also challenged the governor's loan acknowledgement of the former premier of the Eastern region, late Michael Okpara, as the only one who did something tangible on the road.
You cannot relegate to the background the contributions of other leaders. It is very wrong for any leader to do that.
We have seen action steady on that road project. Now we are coming back to also give the impression to the world that that road was a desert. The whole place was a desert. Nothing happened. I mean, government and at that level shouldn't function that way. When all of us, these are things who can see, feel, and touch and understand.
While some citizens throw tantrums on distorted figures, others only look forward to having the bad sections of the road repaired.
There is no vehicle that go to this road and come back safely.
The road has been giving us sleepless nights. Even Okada that we used to drive it from Ohofia to Arochukwu, sometimes our tire will spoil on the road.
The governor had also, on that flag of day, appealed to the federal government to ensure that the state gets its refund for the road, a mission the former legislator believes might be difficult for many reasons.
No official documentation has been done on that federal alignment, and no official handover. Otherwise, we have seen the minister's representative on the side speaking.
The question, therefore, is, which part of the road has the state government flagged off for reconstruction? The entire stretch of Ohofia Arochukwu Road or the section that is yet to be fixed? In Arochukwu for News Central, Chinwe Ugele.
Vital question. Well, Nigeria's Defense Headquarters has activated a toll-free line for Operation Safe Haven in line with its mandate in enthroning and ensuring sustainable peace in Plateau State. This was made known by the Medical and Information Officer, Operation Safe Haven, Major Samson Zakom in Jos, location of the headquarters of the operations. News Central's Chizoba Nyongwe in Jos takes a look at activities that gave rise to this stride in a bid to achieve peace at all costs within their joint operations area. Here is a report.
Those were the cries of affected community members that have come under different forms of attacks in the past 2 decades, which left scores of lives lost, many others with varying degrees of injuries, and many property destroyed. Worst hit among the affected communities remain Mangu, Bokos, Riom, Barkin Ladi, and Bassa local government areas of the state. It is usually said that live ammunition knows no one, nor any sociocultural divides. It is another reason behind the adage that stones should not be cast in the marketplace, and so even journalists are not spared in the face of any form of chaos.
And I believe that God will take control. And I'm watching right now, I'm in Mangu, believing that
These attacks have kept the military on the plateau for some years now, as they work night and day to ensure Plateau redeems its glory of the home of peace and tourism again. They say they will not lower their guards until there is security in the absence of security men. Latest achievement of the Nigerian military on the plateau is the activation of a toll-free line, which members of the public are urged to dial for prompt response in the face of any security breach within the Operation Safe Havens Joint Operations Area.
The toll-free line is specifically to serve as the fastest available means to the populace to report cases of insecurity within their communities to headquarters Operation Safe Haven Joint Operations Area. And the toll-free line is free. The toll-free line is 0800-00-20203. Once there is any call from any communities within our joint operation area, there will be swift and timely response.
A cross-section of the residents speak on the new development aimed at improving security.
I'm a victim of theft. My car was just stolen on Sunday. I believe if I had known this before then, I would have placed a call, and I would feel comfortable that my vehicle is being tracked, because I know definitely uniformed men would have given signals and coupled up with military efforts. They are very dogged, and the Nigerian military is good to do such kind of jobs. No matter how the system is bad, we know that there's a sense of integrity in the military. So I think it's a very welcome idea.
The military-civilian relations need to be strengthened in order for us to sustain this initiative. This is very laudable, and I commend the military for taking such a very bold step.
We see this as a right step, but then a lot of things need to be done to see that the common man actually accepts the initiative.
With this new development now, as I'm telling you now, it has really helped in terms of proactiveness.
Now, with this development on board, one would expect that Nigeria will put into consideration the submissions of these respondents to continue to deliver on their mandates in ensuring maximum peace in the state. In Jos for News Central, Chizoba Aniowi.
The news continues in West Africa, where Mali's military leader, Colonel Assimi Goïta, announced that Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger will introduce new biometric passports as part of the Alliance of Sahel States, AES. The move aims to harmonize travel documents and strengthen connectivity among three countries. The announcement comes as the AES marks its one-year anniversary. The three nations, all under military rule, have pivoted towards Russia after severing ties with France and leaving the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. The region faces ongoing jihadist violence, which has killed thousands and displaced millions. The new passports and infrastructure development aim to promote unity and cooperation among the Sahel states in the face of these challenges. African financial experts and senior officials representing leading airlines from around Africa candidly are meeting at a two-day summit in St. Johannesburg to address the pressing aviation issues at hand and importantly recommend practical solutions to help resolve the situation. The summit will feature delegates, speakers from African aviation, global business and support industries.
Because where our client base is regional and we have to take time to go and visit each and every one individually, everybody converges here. You see, so it's a melting pot of exchanging ideas, of catching up with our clients and suppliers, and just catching up with trends within the market.
Well, of course, it affects all the economy, that there are good connections between the countries and people can move and things can move, and especially it's important that it's safe. That's why we have this system.
Donald Trump was the target of an apparent assassination attempt Sunday in Florida, the FBI said, with the Republican presidential candidate's campaign and law enforcement reporting he was safe and unharmed. The U.S. Secret Service confirmed one or more of its agents opened fire on a gunman located near the boundary of Trump's golf course, and that an AK-47 style rifle with a scope was recovered along with a GoPro video camera. Amid the confrontation with the Secret Service, the suspect bolted out of the shrubbery he had been hiding in and also escaped in a black car. A witness helped police identify the vehicle and authorities tracked it down. Well, to discuss this, I'm being joined by Dr. S.A. Sikanku, Special Correspondent and Associate Professor of Journalism, Unimac, Ghana. Thank you for being here with me this morning. Now, what are the implications of this assassination attempt on Donald Trump's security measures and also not forgetting to his campaign strategy? You do recall that just as everyone saw the first one, now this is a second. What are the implications? And most importantly, what do you make out of this?
Thank you very much. First of all, it represents another dark moment in a campaign which is already very high stakes in terms of the tenor of the campaign. What this means is that security has become another major issue in this particular campaign. But it is significant to note that this is the second attempt in as many weeks on Donald Trump, and he has been the subject of a second assassination attempt. You all know the first one that happened at the rally. And so it raises a lot of implications, first of all, for security surrounding both candidates, but especially Donald Trump. The first time this happened, we know that there were concerns about the Secret Service and the FBI in terms of their own internal processes and in terms of them passing on information and being more proactive in preventing something like this. It led to some resignations. Now it's the second time this has happened, and he was just a few yards away from the former president who was golfing. So it does bring to center stage the safety of presidential candidates in this particular election, but also for Kamala Harris herself, who as a racial minority definitely also faces some security risks of her own. But it heightens the stake in this debate. It makes an already very, very close race or an already very consequential and competitive race even more tensions. And so what this means is that it has raised the tension in this particular race. I think that is one of the major things that we are realizing at this point.
All right. How might the incident, the recent one just yesterday, affect the public's perception of Trump and most importantly about his presidential campaign as well? Let's look at the perception.
Right. So there are quite a number of narratives surrounding Donald Trump and his persona. One of the major perception narratives coming out of this is one of vulnerability. First time, yes, but the second time, it does raise some concerns. And so it definitely would raise or bring about some sympathy votes for the former president. But also it pivots him, or there are a lot of his supporters who are saying that he's becoming a target and that there is something probably right or important that he's doing. That's why he's courting this attention. But there are a lot of religious narratives as well. A lot of people talking about the fact that Trump has been selected by God and that he's a special person who God has selected to lead the country. And so he's surrounded by some special grace. So I think that is the second perception around him. And so in the eyes of many, although this is supposed to be a very dark and negative event, for many people, it has also raised his image among his supporters to heroic levels. I mean, these were people who already adulated him, but now it has even reached an even higher crescendo. And if anything at all would cement the kind of emotional connections that people have in concerning Donald Trump in terms of his iconic status at this point. So I believe this is where the narratives or the perceptions are heading in terms of the public image of Donald Trump. But definitely very serious concerns for this happening in this time of the race and as close as possible to the election, but also in terms of the practical implication. I mean, this really is something that really could have had a very bad ending. And America is no stranger to assassinations of presidents. We saw that happen with JFK and with other candidates. And so there's a very real concern about the increasing speed of this. And I'm sure the other presidential candidates will also be taking precautions.
All right, special correspondent and associate professor of journalism, UNIMAC Ghana. Thank you so much, Dr. S.A. Sikanku, for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
We'll go for a short break. When we come back, we'll take a look at more stories here at News Now. Stay with us. And in the world of sports, Team Ondo and Anambra have won gold in the boys and girls 100 meters events on day 4 of the ongoing National Youth Games in Asaba Delta. Team Ondo's Olumide Ibikunle delivered a clutch performance in the boys' final to win gold with a time of 11.20 seconds, while Muhyiddin Adeniji of Ogun State finished second in 11.37 seconds. And Jacob Olumo of Delta State came third in a time of 11.38 seconds. In the girls' final, Rosemary Nwankwo of Anambra State emerged champion after pulling away from the rest of the field to win the race, crossing the line in a time of 12.24 seconds. As the games continue, Team Delta leads the medals table with 14 golds, 3 silver and 6 bronze medals, while Team Edo follows closely with 6 gold, 4 silver and 2 bronze medals, and Team Oyo close up the top 3 with 5 gold and 2 silver medals. And that's all we have for you for this hour. But before we go, a quick look at some of the top stories we've brought to you thus far. NNPCL sets pump prices nationwide, insists paying Dangote Refinery 898 Naira per litre. APC-PDP clash over rigging plotting build-up to Edo State governorship election. We also told you that Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger Republic will be launching a biometric passport. You can send in your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number on the screen, and you can also follow us on all social media platforms. We are at News Central TV. Ensure to watch us live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We are on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times 274, Open Havens, Limex, Avo TV. You can stream live on YouTube and also watch live on Facebook. The ladies of Jasiri will be here at 10 a.m. on the dot, West African time. Make sure you do not miss it. I'm Joe Hanson. Thank you for watching.